Our honeymoon cabin had everything we dreamed of, except one thing the photos on the wall showed us. Only they were taken 100 years ago. We reached the cabin just before sunset, the woods swallowing the last light like a mouth closing around us. My wife, Emily, laughed, saying it felt peacefully isolated. To me, it felt like the kind of quiet that hides things. The cabin looked older than in the photos, like time had stopped caring for it. When the key turned, the door sighed open, as if waking up. The air inside smelled of pine, dust, and something faintly metallic. Every creak under our feet echoed too long, like someone walking behind us. Emily found an old photo album on the fireplace mantel. "Look," she said, smiling, "they look just like us." I laughed at first until I realized she wasn't joking. The couple in the picture, same eyes, same crooked smile, stood in front of this exact cabin. Dates at the bottom read, November 5th, 1925. Exactly 100 years ago, to the day. Emily joked that maybe we were reincarnations, but the thought stuck to me like cobwebs, refusing to shake off. When night came, the forest went silent. As if holding its breath, the wind scraped against the windows like fingernails on glass. We tried to sleep, but the old house whispered. At midnight, I woke to footsteps above us. Slow, deliberate, pacing. When I went to check, the attic door was slightly open. Inside, the air was colder, like stepping into someone else's breath. Boxes sat untouched for decades, draped in yellowed sheets. I found another photograph pinned to a beam, two bodies lying beside the cabin. Their faces were pale, familiar. That's when I heard Emily downstairs, calling my name, but her voice sounded wrong. "Daniel?" she called again, but her voice had a strange echo to it, as if two people were speaking at once. I started down the steps, my flashlight trembling in my hand. When I reached the bottom, Emily was standing by the fireplace, smiling too wide. "Where were you?" she whispered, though her lips barely moved. I told her I'd heard footsteps. She said she hadn't moved. Later that night, I went back to the mantel. The photo album was gone. In its place was a newer one with a cracked red cover. Inside were photos of us. Our wedding, our faces, our smiles. But each photo was burned at the edges, and our eyes were scratched out. I dropped the book and heard faint laughter coming from the walls. There was an antique mirror near the bedroom door, covered by a dusty cloth. Emily said she didn't remember seeing it before. When I pulled the cloth off, the reflection didn't move. It just stared back, like a photograph waiting to develop. And behind our reflection, two shadowy figures stood, smiling. All night, whispers drifted through the cabin, like memories looping on a broken record. "Don't let them in. Don't let them in." Emily covered her ears and cried. It wasn't just voices. It was our own voices. Every time I blinked, the furniture shifted slightly. I realized then we weren't alone, and maybe we never had been. Around 3 a.m., a hollow thud came from beneath the floorboards. Emily said the cabin didn't have a basement, but there it was, hidden under the rug, a trapdoor covered in iron hinges. The sound came again, louder this time, like something knocking from below. When I lifted it, the air that escaped smelled like rot and time itself. I held the flashlight in my teeth and started climbing down into the darkness. Each step groaned, like the wood remembered something painful. When I reached the bottom, I saw an old lantern already burning. Beside it, two shapes under white sheets. I pulled one sheet back and saw my own face staring up at me. I stumbled backward, the lantern swinging wildly, shadows writhing like living things. The air turned heavy. Voices rose from the walls, whispering names I didn't know. Emily's scream echoed above me, sharp and wet. When I climbed back up, she was standing in the middle of the room, staring at the mirror. "Daniel," she said softly, "we've been here before." Her words froze me. She pointed to the wall. Our wedding photo was nailed there, but the date printed on it said November 5th, 1925. And below it, 2 obituaries, ours. I felt the floor tilt beneath me, as if the house itself exhaled. Memories crashed over me. Fire, smoke, screaming. Our honeymoon cut short by a storm. Lightning struck the chimney. The place ignited like dry bone. We tried to escape, but the door wouldn't open. Because it wasn't meant to. Every year on this date we come back, believing we're alive, believing it's our honeymoon. And every year we find ourselves dead again. The firelight flickered again. Only, there was no fire this time. Emily's hand slipped into mine, cold and weightless. "Maybe this time we'll remember," she whispered. I looked out the window. The same car we arrived in was parked outside, but empty. As the clock struck midnight, everything reset. The knock on the door, the laughter, the album on the mantel. We smiled, stepping through the doorway once more, thinking it was our honeymoon. But it never ends, because this isn't a honeymoon. It's a haunting. A week later, or maybe a century, I can't tell anymore. We heard tires crunching on the gravel outside. Through the window, I saw another couple stepping out, laughing, holding hands. Emily turned to me, her voice a whisper. "Do you think they'll see us?" I didn't answer because I already knew the truth. They looked just like us. The woman even laughed the same way Emily did all those years ago. I reached out to warn them, but my hand passed through the glass. They couldn't see us. And when they unlocked the door, I heard the same sigh I did 100 years ago. Emily started crying softly. "It's starting again." We watched them explore, laugh, and kiss, like we once did. I wanted to warn them about the photographs, the attic, the trapdoor, but the words wouldn't come out. It felt like invisible hands were holding my jaw shut. The air pulsed, the cabin remembered them now. I realized the truth. The house wasn't haunted by us. It was feeding on us. Every century, it needed a new pair. 2 souls bound by love strong enough to keep returning. We weren't victims anymore, we were part of its trap. And soon, those new lovers would be too. So if you ever find an old cabin in the woods, and the photos on the wall look a little too familiar, leave, before the door sighs shut behind you. It's been years now, maybe decades, but the nights never change here. Sometimes, I can hear laughter outside, and for a second, I forget we're dead. But the moment I open the door, it's gone, and the forest is silent again. Emily hums the same wedding song every night, like she's waiting for it to end. It never does. We don't sleep anymore, we just wait for the next couple to arrive. If you ever drive through these woods and find a cabin that looks too perfect, don't go inside. Because once you cross that door, the story starts again. And this time, it'll be your honeymoon.